Hey guys, what is up? My name is Phoenix.
And I'm Teddy.
We are from Phoenix Teddyairsoft, and we are joined today by Blackhawk. He's our special guest for today, and welcome to our first episode of our new Getting Started series. This series is going to be a general guideline of what you should get and what you should not get when you are first starting out in the sport of airsoft, because after 8 or 9 years of experience, I can vouch for you by saying that it is great to have a veteran's opinion on what is good and what is not when you're starting into the sport of airsoft. Otherwise, you'll end up in my shoes and be incredibly poor.
Well, that's morbid.
Well, I'm just being brutally honest.
Yeah.
That being said, this episode is going to be about sidearms. So, obviously, starting off with the hierarchy of sidearms, we're going to start with the most inexpensive sidearm, and that is spring-powered. Now, what I mean by spring-powered is exactly how it sounds. It is powered by a spring, meaning once you have a fully loaded magazine, you rack the slide, and it loads around into the chamber. Pull the trigger, and it fires. Now, unlike most sidearms that you see in the field, to fire another round, you have to cycle it again, much like a Nerf gun. Now, some people might find this to be a severe handicap, and I'm not going to lie, it's kind of a handicap, but with sidearms, the rule is they are meant to engage a target under the 20-foot minimum engagement distance rule, or MED. So, whenever you engage someone under 20 feet, all you need to do is just draw, shoot, and done. And if you miss the target the first time, then just easy enough. And that's pretty much the gist of the spring-powered sidearm. So let's go ahead and jump into the next affordable option.
And another more affordable option is the CO2 powered. And unlike the spring, you can actually pull the trigger over and over and over, and it's just a semi-auto. So you don't have to worry about anything but really putting ammo in it and keeping the CO2 cartridge inside here. And you can pretty much shoot until you run out of ammo or CO2, because that does happen sometimes. And it's actually about $40, so it's not too expensive. It's right in there, and if you don't feel like re-racking the gun every single time to fire, you can just do this and just pull the trigger and go crazy.
With that being said, let's go ahead and move on to our most common and most expensive line of sidearms in the airsoft market.
And lastly, we have a CO2 blowback. So you get your same basic cartridge, same basic magazine that holds your CO2 cartridge, and then ammunition just like a regular CO2 non-blowback, but instead, this one, it has all of the mechanisms inside the gun itself, and it's more real steel, so you can actually cycle around into the chamber, let it go, and fire. And now on CO2 blowbacks, you do not want to dry fire them. You actually want to have the ammunition in them at all times. That's why we are wearing safety gear at this moment. But the really cool things about them, it feels like you're shooting a real gun. Like if you're going to shoot like a silenced 22, that's about how it sounds, and it's got a little bit of a kick of blowback on it, so it's really cool. But the thing is that they run about 120 bucks, so that's significantly more than both of these other guns, and so it's not really smart to just go out and throw out 120 bucks just on a pistol whenever you just start getting into the game. It's like going out and buying like some $500 Jordans whenever you first started playing basketball. You just don't do it. Okay, but other than that, they're really good guns to have. Any one of these, I started out with the spring, then non-blowback, and then blowback. And you do not have to have CO2 to have blowback. You can have green gas propane, those are interchangeable, or you can have HPA, which it's a high pressure gas. So I mean,
and that is the largest price margin.
Yeah, so that's like once you're a veteran, I mean, you might want to start investing in HPA, but other than that, don't even bother it, because they have new stuff coming out year round. Other than that, I just stick with one of these three options.
And now that we've gone through that out of the way, there's one more option I would like to share with you guys. And that option would be this cheap spring-powered shotgun. Now, much like the spring-powered sidearm, this one is also powered by a spring. Duh. But every time you rack it, loads around in the chamber, pull the trigger, and it fires. But the biggest difference between these two options is that this fires 3 BBs at once instead of 1, effectively making it an airsoft shotgun. And it costs about $60, so relatively inexpensive, but again, unlike the sidearm, this can actually be used as a decent primary. I've actually seen many kids completely wreck house with just a $60 spring shotgun. and they all come with at least 1 or 2 shotgun magazines, which hold 30 rounds per shell, which gives you 10 shots. And these shells are also inexpensive. So if you are looking for a sidearm, keep in mind that sidearm doesn't necessarily have to mean pistol. It can also mean shotgun, or more likely anything that shoots under 350 FPS, but we will get to that rule in a later video. So that, for the most part, covers the spectrum of sidearm options. Now, there is another option on the airsoft market, and those are battery-powered airsoft pistols, but unfortunately, I don't have one available for this video for a decent demonstration. But you'll be better off with a CO2 non-blowback, a spring, or if you have enough money, gas blowback, either green gas or CO2, or $60 for a shotgun. Now, the reason why we picked sidearms for episode 1 is because there's a common misconception that you can go out to an airsoft field and have a good time with just a pistol. That statement, in my opinion, is incredibly false, because you're going to be outgunned by rifles and sniper rifles and better performing sidearms and just players with more experience overall. So really, the best option to start playing airsoft is to go to your local field, rent a firearm, and then go out and play for a little bit, build a play style, and see if you enjoy the sport as a whole. If you do, then feel free to go ahead and invest some money into the sport like we have, and that's, in my opinion, the best way to get into the sport of airsoft. Would you agree, Teddy?
Yes, I would agree.
And the reason why we chose to do this little mini-series getting started is because, like I said earlier, we are veteran airsofters and we see common misconceptions all the time, and we just want to give a little bit of knowledge to people who are interested in playing airsoft or just starting out into airsoft, so that way they don't have as hard of a time as Teddy, Blackhawk, and I have when we first started. Because I've been shelling money and money and money buying gun after gun after gun, as opposed to a veteran airsofter telling me, hey, don't do that, do this instead, so on and so forth. But that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. My name is Phoenix.
And I'm Teddy.
And I'm Blackhawk.
We are from Phoenix Teddy Airsoft, and we will see you guys in the next video.